Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Spoilers, Jack may destroy Joss, but is he falling for her mother? General Hospital spoilers suggest that WSB Chief Jack Brennan has recently become a close friend of Josslyn Jax, and her mother, Carly Spencer, is completely unaware of this. Joss has been determined to find out who killed Dex Heller. For whatever reason, Jack has stepped in to support her, but only in ways that need Joss to do the heavy lifting. Giving her polite advice and inside information, he has helped her get closer to the truth, which is quite perilous. Joss now believes that she is responsible for any justice that can be served. Will Carly discover that Jack dragged her into this revenge game if she becomes involved? General Hospital spoilers, a trail of breadcrumbs. For some reason, Jack is unable to pursue Cyrus on his own and appears incapable of assisting with the investigation by informing the PCPD that WSB satellite surveillance showed Cyrus stabbing Dex at Rice Plaza. However, he has not revealed this information to Joss either. He's allowing her to trust her instincts, and every clue she discovers along the road points to Cyrus as the murderer of her boyfriend. Still, we have to wonder why Jack wants Joss to take on the perilous task of playing detective. Is it because she could implicate herself along the road, making herself a bargaining tool in his quest to bring down Sonny Corinthos? Spoilers, why is Jack wooing Carly? Unfortunately, Joss believes Jack is an ally on her side when he is actually putting her up for a fall. We don't know all the facts yet, but Jack is certainly leading her into the lion's den, and she will most likely end up in danger. Carly won't be happy when that happens, but she'll be surprised to learn that everyone who warned her about Jack was correct. Still, we have to wonder why Jack is persevering with a relationship with Carly when he knows it will not end well. General Hospital spoilers, the bargaining chip. It's likely that Jack just wants to set Joss up for legal trouble so that he may use her freedom as a bargaining chip to extract information from Carly. So far, they've both set clear boundaries, with Carly declaring she won't be used as a pawn in any scheme to gather dirt on her ex-husband, Sonny. As her new paramour and confidant, Jack may be able to persuade Carly to cooperate with the authorities, turning on Sonny, in exchange for dropping any charges against Joss, but will she discover that it was Jack who drove Joss in this way in the first place? Will she realize that Jack's interest in her has always been fiction, and is it? It appears that Jack may have fallen for his mark. General Hospital spoilers, how will the truth about Brooklyn and Joe's relationship be unveiled? Brooklyn Quartermain, who works at General Hospital in the small town of Port Charles, has recently become the center of one of the most significant mysteries. When she was a teenager, BLQ became pregnant with Dante Falconeri's child and never informed him. Instead, her mother, Lois Cerullo, assisted her in concealing the fact until she gave birth and placed the child for adoption. 20 years later, BLQ's decision continues to haunt her. Not getting pregnant now has Brooklyn reflecting on her past. Brooklyn and her new husband, Harrison Chase, have struggled to conceive during the previous few months, and it was recently revealed that he is unable to father a child. This has made her think more about the baby she gave up. She believes she made the correct decision, but she still has some questions. She feels it was a sealed adoption, and she just knows her child's birth date. Chase has stated that he feels guilty if he denies Brooklyn the opportunity to experience pregnancy, thus she is considering telling him the truth about having previously carried a kid. For some reason, she believes this will help him feel better. Little does BLQ know, she's already living with her son while Brooklyn mulls over her options. Her mother has delivered some bombshells. Lois claims that the sealed adoption was a private family arrangement, and her kid was always within arm's reach. Gio Palmieri was nurtured by one of Lois' close friends until her death, after which the rest of the family stepped in to ensure his affection and well-being. He arrived in Port Charles last summer and has been living on the Quartermain's estate ever since. Gio, 20, is actually Brooklyn and Dante's son, and Lois is desperate to keep the fact hidden. She sought legal assistance from Martin Gray, who informed her that if either BLQ or Gio sought information, both would have access to it. This was the last thing Lois wanted to hear. The truth always comes out. Will Brooklyn be able to put the past behind her? Or will the idea of not having a child with Chase inspire her to seek out the one she abandoned? How do you think this will all play out in the end? Willow Tate Corinthos stepped onto the gatehouse porch and took a deep breath. The aroma of pine and fresh earth filled her breath, giving her a sense of peace she hadn't felt in weeks. She felt at ease for the first time in what seemed like forever. She is not facing any custody disputes. No more worrying about whether she'd have to battle for her own children. Wiley and Amelia were finally back where they belonged. Her life was starting to feel like hers again. However, she had learned that peace was often brief. And it wouldn't be long until the storm crashed back down. She just didn't realize it yet. Willow smiled as the pleasant murmur of children's laughing filled the house. She looked into the living room, where Wiley sat on the floor stacking blocks into a towering edifice as Amelia applauded him. The sight warmed her heart. This was what she'd battled so hard for. Her family. Her children. Her home. She refused to let anything take that away from her again. The previous few months had been an uphill battle that nearly broke her. When Carly Spencer moved to take Wiley and Amelia away, it felt like the world had collapsed. When Tracy Quartermaine dug in her heels and refused to allow them back to her, Willow was forced to play a hazardous game. But she'd won. Or so she had thought. She had used Michael's medical proxy as leverage to force Carly's hand, and with Jason Morgan acting as a mediator, she was allowed permission to return to the gatehouse with her children. There had been one condition. Drew Quartermaine was not permitted anywhere on Quartermaine land. It had been a simple rule. One that she completely meant to pursue. But that was before the events of yesterday night. Before, she allowed her emotions to cloud her judgment. Previously, she had committed a mistake that could cost her everything. Drew had knocked on her door late the night before, his presence surprising and familiar in a way that made her heart race. She knew she should not let him in. But she did. And now, in broad daylight, she wasn't sure if she regretted it. They had had more than simply a talk. This is more than just a moment of weakness. And in their rush, they had been careless. Drew forgot something when he left. His tie. A simple and dumb oversight. It should have been negligible. However, fate had other plans. Because Carly saw it. And now the truth was revealed. Carly had arrived unannounced with gifts from Germany, a thoughtful gesture that may have been appreciated under different circumstances. But as soon as she went inside, her gaze was drawn to the evidence of Willow's mistake. Drew's tie was carelessly flung across the back of the couch. Carly's keen eyes had picked it up instantly. A flash of recognition crossed her face before her expression hardened. She approached Drew shortly after, and in a tragic twist of destiny, the conversation took place in public. Immediately in front of Tracy Quartermaine. Tracy had not missed one word. Tracy Quartermaine took delight in many things. Her business acumen. Her skill to outwit those who dared to challenge her. Above all, she demonstrated the capacity to implement the regulations she established. She would not tolerate dishonesty. She didn't forgive betrayal. Willow had broken the one unbreakable rule. Drew was barred from the Quartermaine property. There had been no exemptions. Nonetheless, Willow had completely disregarded it. Tracy was not a woman who would let such things go unpunished. She had already planned how she would retaliate. Willow sat at the kitchen table, sipping her tea, completely unconscious of the storm forming over the horizon. But the instant she heard the knock at her door, a shiver ran down her spine. As she rose to respond, she felt a strong sensation of discomfort in her stomach. When she opened the door, she was confronted by her darkest fears. Tracy Quartermaine. Poised. Calm. Deadly. Willow gulped hard. Tracy, she said cautiously. This is a surprise. Tracy smiled. A keen, knowing smile. I imagine it is, she responded calmly. May I come inside? Willow paused. She wanted to say no. But denying Tracy would do her no favors. So she stepped aside, allowing the elderly woman to enter. The room's temperature appeared to plummet as soon as the door closed. Tracy turned to face her, arms folded. "I assume you know why I'm here." Willow nodded slowly. "Carly told you." "She didn't need to," Tracy said. "I saw it for myself." Willow's heart pounded. "Tracy, please," Tracy raised a hand. "Don't. You understood the rules. You were aware of the consequences." Willow clutched her fists. "You can't take my children from me again." Tracy tilted her head. "Can't I?" Panic clawed at Willow's chest. She couldn't go through it again. She would not. She'd fought too hard. Tracy examined her for a long time before speaking again. "I'm a reasonable woman, Willow." Willow bit back a sour laugh. "Some would disagree." Tracy smirked. "That's their problem." "Why are you really here?" Willow demanded. Tracy's expression became unreadable. "To remind you that actions have consequences." Willow gulped hard. "Are you taking my kids?" she whispered. Tracy remained silent for what seemed like an age. And finally, she spoke. "No," she responded finally. "Not yet." Willow's knees almost buckled. Tracy persisted before she could feel any relief. "This is your only warning," she stated coldly. "Defy me again, and you won't get another chance." And then she turned and went out the door, leaving Willow standing there, shaken to the core. Willow breathed slowly and shakily as Tracy's heels disappeared into the distance. She dodged calamity. For now. But she knew one thing for sure. Tracy Quartermain never issued empty threats. And the next time she made a mistake, there would be no forgiveness. Cody's Big Mouth, General Hospital 2 scoops for the week of February 3, 2025. Cody Bell is puzzling everyone on General Hospital, even himself. He also spent the previous week annihilating all of the character development we've observed over the last 2 years. The main line is that you should never tell this adult guy anything, since even his teenage self can keep a better secret than the man-child he is today. Cody cannot stop talking. "Didn't your mouth drop to the floor when Brooklyn mentioned the baby she had all those years ago to Cody, who had completely forgotten about it until she brought it up?" His teenage best friend knocked impregnated said best friend's teenage neighbor during summer camp, but Cody forgot about it? Is it how he was able to hide the news from Dante for the past 2 decades but couldn't keep Sasha's secret in his memory for more than 1 minute? What was Cody thinking when he told everyone who would listen that Jason fathered Sasha's child? And why would he go to that conclusion? Has Cody never seen a lady ask a friend to feel her baby kick? It is not a rare occurrence here on Earth. Why would anyone assume that the acquaintance is the child's father? But this is Cody, and despite his unlawful card games with Selena Wu, he isn't exactly playing with a full deck. Maxie, Anna, Drew, who else would Cody have told if Sasha hadn't stopped this complete nonsense? We're shocked he didn't rent a skywriting plane so that Port Charles and beyond could hear the good news. He didn't even apologize to Sasha when she confronted him. Instead, he made inadequate justifications for his bad actions and attempted to persuade Sasha to confirm the rumor he generated. The fact that GH now wants to couple Cody with sweet, mature, and intellectual Molly is absurd. She's way out of this league. After this week, every lady in Port Charles is out of his reach. Cody despises Drew but has recently had no trouble being like him, kinda, because Drew. We would say that words fail us, but... Are you serious, Drew? Seriously? How could the former Navy SEAL, who just wanted to go away from Sonny's danger and be a family guy with Sam, become into this total schnock, as Lois described? And that is putting it lightly. Drew has no redeemable characteristics left at this point and is constantly creating enemies wherever he goes. The Quartermains want his head on a platter, as do the Corinthos and Ashford families. This week, Drew revealed his true colors to Laura, Jordan, Anna, the Deception team, and the whole Metro Court. Scaling the fence at the Q estate with Navy SEAL capabilities he shouldn't have remembered, and digging for dirt on Curtis were child's play in comparison to his antics at the Metro Court. Drew felt no remorse when Carly confronted him about having sex with his nephew's wife in his nephew's bed. At least he wasn't his brother Jason, who knocked up the family cook. That condescending and absolutely disrespectful remark riled Sasha up, as it should. Drew finally apologized after realizing Sasha had heard everything he said, and only because he had been called out in public. At least we got some soapy goodness out of it. Soap operas are made up of public scandals. Having the Deception ladies at a table in the corner was pure bliss. The reaction shots from Lucy, Brooklyn, Tracy, Maxie, and Lulu exceeded our expectations. Tracy took our breath away as usual, since Jane Elliott never stops making us laugh until we weep. Can someone kindly commit Willow to Shadybrook? Willow hit new heights of ridiculousness this week, while Drew reached new heights of weird behavior. We'd say they're the ideal horrible twosome, but they make our skin crawl, and we want it to stop. Please. Nina and Brooklyn wanted to rip their hair out right along with us as they attempted to reason with Willow in a good cop bad cop manner. Nina attempted to gently pull her daughter away from the edge of lunacy, while Brooklyn employed some Brooklyn-style tough love. Drew has plainly sucked Willow's brain out, so neither way works. Willow is right back in her own private cult, unable to resist Drew's allure that only she can see. Drew placed his hand on Willow's cheek while standing in Nina's living room, sending shivers down our spine. He can't exist unless he has power over her, and she can't live without being controlled. It's still unclear whether GH intended to make this a story of power and abuse, or if the show slid into it. Regardless, Drillo is frightening on every level. Granny's détente? The long-running Granny Wars took a surprising turn this week when Nina and Carly discovered they really agreed on something. Drew is a jerk, and Willow is completely insane. Carly was hesitant to cooperate with Nina, but Nina was her usual persistent self. She is unstoppable once she has an idea. We admit we were as stunned as Carly when Nina apologized for stealing Sunny from her, especially because Sunny actually fell in love with Nina and Carly wasted no time marrying Jason after believing Sunny had died. Was the apology necessary? Maybe if it allows us to move on from the never-ending Granny Wars, which have lasted nearly 5 years. We can't wait to see how Nina and Carly split up the most disgusting couple GH has offered us in years. This alliance will provide at least some entertainment value. That is why we watch. Thank you for saying the obvious, Lois. Was anyone astonished, when Lois revealed that Gio Palmieri was her grandson? Done. Who didn't see it coming when Gio unexpectedly came in Port Charles to attend Brooklyn and Chase's wedding last spring? What a coincidence that Brooklyn was connecting with her kid just as his father entered the room, while her mother was with a lawyer attempting to conceal the truth. Monica's house is full with joyful people, but no one knows. Maybe now that Lois has spoken, we can get this slow-moving show on the road. Tracy said it all. Since Christmas, GH has been bringing us gift after gift, week after week, with Jane Elliott's Tracy, and we are beyond grateful. From Tracy accidentally streaming Drew and Willow's sex tryst on the big screen TV to Tracy going to jail, it's all been great fun. This week, we got to see Tracy's always spot-on facial responses to her loathed nephew Drew being exposed as the louse he is in front of the entire Metro Court restaurant. She had no idea a boring deception meeting could be so enjoyable, but Tracy's delicate heart should never be forgotten. Tracy goes all out to support someone she believes in. This week, she learned that Sasha is truly unique and may be similar to her. Tracy took Sasha aside and stunned her by offering her full support as a single mother. After all, Tracy did it, therefore any woman can, right? Tracy will be Sasha's other mother while her real mother runs cons in Europe, and we think we'll love her. Dangerous Digitalis Games. It's only a matter of time before the Digitalis Fatalities inquiry goes horribly wrong. Let us count the number of persons working on this who are not officially part of the probe. We currently have Elizabeth, Lucky, Lucas, Josslyn, and Dante. Liz is enlisting Rick, Josslyn is causing havoc and has the WSB unofficially involved, and Dante has the potential to jeopardize the trial, but he doesn't seem concerned. Now that Danny and Rocco know Sam was murdered and not killed by a hospital mix-up or a natural heart attack, we can see two teenage lads being involved as well. Perhaps Alexis' decision to tell Danny about his mother without first consulting his father was a bad idea after all. Then there's Sunny being prescribed a new heart drug, which might potentially take everyone in the wrong path. Oh no, there's more disaster on the way. Until next week, GH fans. Kelly Monaco has quit acting, according to General Hospital News. We don't have the news you were hoping for about her comeback. General Hospital News, Kelly Monaco quits acting. That's because there's widespread rumor that General Hospital alum Kelly Monaco has given up on her acting career. For the past 20 years, she was best recognized for her role as Sam McCall on the popular ABC serial Opera. Given that she was dismissed in August of last year, one would expect her to be back on the canvas, but that has not happened. There was considerable conjecture that Kelly will move on to another soap opera, such as Days of Our Lives or The Bold and the Beautiful. That, and some people assumed she'd try her hand at primetime, but she hasn't received any offers since General Hospital terminated her contract. Now, no one really knows what Kelly will do next. But many of her followers believe she is still much too young to give up on her career entirely. After all, she still has many years ahead of her. Fans still want to see her perform, whether on a soap opera or a primetime television series. However, it's possible that she's simply taking a much-needed break from her work, social media, and even her followers before regrouping and considering her next consistent source of income. Her followers are expecting that she would return to acting sooner rather than later. Kelly Monaco has yet to comment on the situation, but we will keep you updated as more information becomes available. Keep an eye on this space for updates as new information becomes available. Carly Spencer had never shied away from passion, and her romance with Jack Brennan had seemed genuine, something that could stay. But something had changed. The transition had been gentle at first, coming in like an unspoken shadow between them, unnoticed in the radiance of their early infatuation. However, with time, the discrepancies became apparent and undeniable. She was not blind to it. She wasn't naive enough to dismiss it. And now she had to determine if love was worth the danger of remaining in something that no longer felt right. The air outside Charlie's pub had a harsh winter bite, and Carly tightened her coat about herself. The frost was little compared to the looming uncertainty in her heart. She had met Jack Brennan in this exact location months before, their flirtations effortless, their connection instant. There was something in his eyes, something strange, fascinating, and menacing. She wanted to figure him out and understand him. And for a while, she did. However, she felt as if she was looking at a stranger. It wasn't simply the dramatic change in his manner, he seemed different in ways she couldn't quite describe. It was something deeper. Something made her wonder if she had ever truly known him. Carly saw him as soon as she came inside. Jack Brennan was already seated in the corner booth, his tumbler of bourbon laying alongside his hand. He was looking at her, his expression opaque, his presence as powerful as ever. But something seemed odd. The sharp edge of interest that had pulled her in was no longer present. The subtle tension that had made her pulse race was no longer there. And perhaps it was the true issue. Perhaps it wasn't only him who had changed. Maybe she did, too. "You're late," Brennan said as she slid into the booth across from him. Carly arched her brow. "Didn't realize I was on a schedule." He smirked, but not with his eyes. "Is it a busy day?" She let out a slow breath. "Something like that." The conversation felt stilted and awkward. A far cry from what it once was. Jack reached for his cup, stirring the liquid inside while studying her. "Something's on your mind." Carly caught his gaze. "Is this a question or an observation?" "Both." She paused, weighing her next words carefully. "I heard something today," she admitted finally. Brennan slumped back in his seat. "And?" "It's about Josslyn." A deliberate, controlled flicker passed across his features. "Go on." Carly gulped hard. "I know what you're doing." The hush that ensued was deafening. And in that instant, she knew she was correct. Carly had never been a woman who gave up, and she was not going to start now. She folded her arms and spoke steadily. "Are you recruiting Josslyn into the WSB?" Brennan did not answer right away, and her quiet served as proof. "You didn't expect me to find out?" Carly pressed. "Would Lucas warn me?" Brennan breathed and carefully set down his drink. "You're overreacting." She laughed, but it wasn't funny. "Overreacting?" "Brennan, my daughter, is currently attending college. She's meant to be concerned about examinations, not spying." "She's not a child," he responded. "She is smart. Capable. The WSB could use someone like her." Carly's eyes blazed with wrath. "She is not your recruit. She is my daughter." Brennan's visage took on a cold, unbending quality. "She is also an adult, Carly. She makes her own decisions." That was the moment she understood. Everything came together at that point. Jack Brennan had never been the man she believed he was. He had never really bothered about borders or family. Because if he had, he would not have gone behind her back. "I want you to stay away from Josslyn," she replied quietly but firmly. Brennan squeezed his lips together. "I can't do that." Carly's stomach twisted. "Then I can't do this." The words hung in the air between them, laden with finality. Jack Brennan's gaze clouded. "Are you going to end this?" Carly forced herself to keep her chin up. "You ended it the moment you lied to me." He scoffed and shook his head. "It's not about trust, Carly. This is about control. You don't like that Josslyn makes her own decisions." Her jaw clenched. "No, this is about you manipulating her into a world she has no business being in." Brennan leaned forwards. "Do you believe she's better off in Sonny's world? Because, let's be honest, danger isn't new to her. At least with the WSB, she'd be trained and ready." Carly cut him off. "I don't need you to tell me how to protect my daughter." Something about his expression changed then. A spark of something raw and unguarded. For a brief moment, she thought he might fight for it. For them. But he did not. He just nodded. "If that's how you feel." Carly's heart tightened, but she didn't let it show. She'd made her decision. So had he. She went out from the booth without saying anything further. She did not glance back. Because looking back involved second-guessing. And she wasn't going to do it. As she stepped outside, the chilly air struck her like a slap. She inhaled deeply to stabilize herself. It was over. And maybe it was never intended to last. But as she strolled down the street, her thoughts turned to the possibilities ahead. If Jack Brennan wasn't in her future, perhaps someone else was. Soap opera comings and goings, recasts, debuts, and reunions. This week's soap operas feature recastings, debuts, and a reunion. Here's the most recent casting news from the 4 daytime dramas, The Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, and The Young and the Restless. The week of February 10, 2025. Find out if any of your favorite actors and actresses from the past are returning to the shows you watch, if any newcomers have been cast in contract, recurring, or day player roles, and if any popular performers are leaving. Rachel Boyd will make her Days of Our Lives debut as Sophia Choi on Wednesday, February 12. The actress succeeds Madeline Keynes, who created the role in 2024 but chose to leave the show. Boyd's credits include the film Boot Camp and the television series Grand Army. Sherna Nielsen reprises her role as Sophia's mother, Amy Choi. Nielsen premieres on Friday, February 14 with scenes featuring Boyd and Leo Howard's Tate. Rose Gentle returns as the Lady in White on Monday, February 10. She interacts with Stacey Hayduk's Kristen and Tamara Braun's Ava. Bruce Beatty appears as Seth Burns. On Tuesday, February 11, the hospital administrator and body and soul star shares scenes with Judy Evans Bonney. Kim Coles concluded her one-day stay as Whitley King. the insane nurse was returned to the psychiatric hospital after harassing the body and soul cast. Valerie Pettiford continues her role as Amy Lewis on The Young and the Restless. The actress appears in scenes alongside Sean Dominic's Nate and Jermaine Rivers' Damien on Tuesday, February 11th, when Amy is finally reunited with her kid. Redding Munsell reprises his role as Harrison Abbott. On Tuesday, February 11th, the child appears in scenes with his television parents, Kyle played by Michael Mealer and Summer played by Allison Lanier. Chris McKenna, who played Joey Buchanan on the former ABC serial General Hospital One Life to Live, has taken up the role of WSB boss Jack Brennan. McKenna, who formerly portrayed Mark Harding on The Young and the Restless and Dr. Hayden on The Bold and the Beautiful, made his debut last week. He shared his thoughts on his new assignment here. McKenna succeeds Charles Measure, who debuted as the secretive and charming figure in December 2023. According to a GH statement, Measure chose to leave the role. The actor made his final appearance on January 30th, right when Jack and Carly's romance was heating up. Asher Antonsen reprises his role as Danny Morgan. On Wednesday, February 12th, he appears in scenes with his TV father, Jason, played by Steve Burton. Dick Christie returns to his role as Charlie Weber on The Bold and the Beautiful after a few months away. The Forrester Creations chief of security is scheduled to appear on Friday, February 13th. He will appear in sequences alongside Muriel Hilaire's captivating Daphne Rose. Christie's last appearance on the show was in November 2024. Will Nina's attempt at an alliance succeed or fail spectacularly? On the next GH, Nina attempts to build an alliance. Meanwhile, Laura warns Drew, while Jordan briefs Anna. When Willow asked Nina if she and the kids could move back in, something must have snapped in Nina's mind. She knew she would be unable to keep Willow and Drew apart. That must have been the point at which she resolved to take action. Expect Nina to sacrifice her dignity and make a desperate move. When Nina tries to build an alliance, she looks to the most unlikely person. According to the GH Weekly video preview, she will try to collaborate with Carly, who despises her guts. Will Carly realize when she stops laughing that this could be a fantastic opportunity to get Drew out of their life? Will she inform Nina where to go? Mother-daughter encounters. It seemed that everyone has had their say about Drew Kane. Suddenly, it is the mayor's chance to communicate her worries to the congressman. Laura warns Drew. She must wish to express her opinion on him utilizing his political contacts to stall the Port Charles Esplanade project. This is her deputy mayor's baby, which he's holding up. How will Drew respond? Meanwhile, Laura's daughter, Lulu, experiences a difficult meeting. Whom could the interaction involve? There's Brennan, the man she's hoping to find who can help her with Valentine and Charlotte. Or there's Cyrus Renaud. Uncle and niece haven't spoken since she awoke, correct? It's also possible that it's Sidwell, who knows Lucky well and has lately met her mother, the mayor. Giving and receiving intel. Jordan recently resolved to pursue Sidwell and see what he was up to. Isaiah wasn't pleased that she was putting herself in danger, but Jordan was determined. Will Jordan's briefing of Anna include the police commissioner? She had better be. Jordan needs this. She enjoys being PC's deputy mayor, but she also wants to be a part of the action. She's got it. Finally, Sonny receives medical news. It's what he and Natalia came to Los Angeles for. He met with a well-known cardio doctor. Is there a problem with Sonny's heart? If so, what will be his next steps? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.